So the UFL investigated a incident between a player and fan at the Panthers Battlehawks game. So after the Battlehawks Panthers game, a fan got into it with Samson Nacua, the wide receiver of the Panthers. Samson is the brother of Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua. Panthers cornerback Adonis Alexander was also seen in the video. The UFL released a statement after that. The UFL is aware of the incident that took place last evening at the conclusion of the Michigan Panthers versus St. Louis Battlehawks game. League officials are currently investigating the matter. So, without further ado, let's get to the videotape. So what we learned a couple days later is that the United Football League had suspended now Samson Nacua for one game without pay for his altercation with the spectator following the Panthers game at the Dome. The suspension will begin this weekend when the Panthers game against DC Defenders, America's team, on Sunday, May 4th, was announced today by UFL Executive Vice President of Football Operations, Daryl Johnston. As part of the suspension, Nacua has agreed to participate in community service events to be arranged by the league, which will be determined later this season. Nacua released this statement in the Detroit News. He said, quote, "I would like to apologize to the Michigan Panthers, the UFL, and the fans who support our league for my actions on Saturday night following our game against St. Louis Battlehawks. I truly let my emotions get the best of me and accept the league's decision completely. To my teammates, I will be supporting you in spirit as you face DC this weekend and look forward to joining you the following week as we look towards the playoffs. I love this game and the people who play beside me. Most of all, I appreciate this league for providing me the opportunity to continue playing the game I love." Now, Tua, father of Michigan Panthers running back Tua Taioa, posted the following on social media about the incident. He said, quote, "We sat right behind them, but more in the middle of that section. We were the only Panthers fans in that section behind the Panthers bench. I've been to hundreds of different stadiums for NFL, NCAA, and high school sporting events supporting my sons throughout the years. I've been heckled and harassed before, so I knew not to get involved. Trust me when I say this. There was nobody in that stadium that me or my buddy, who is in ex-Special Forces, would have a problem with." Good for you. "This crowd was by far the nastiest," that's right, he says, "the nastiest I've ever been around. I could hear him clearly from where we sat. It wasn't just him. There was even women screaming at the players about the size of their private parts. People were trying to insult the Panther players with nasty negative comments that had nothing to do with football. A lady from the same fan base sitting a couple seats over from him said something to him about the heckling, and his reaction was, 'I just like to F with them.' There comes a point when you're going too far, and he was clearly beyond that point. He decided to spit on Nacua." And that's what he has, and this is what he had posted on social media. My take on this situation, so clearly Nacua should not have engaged with the fan. Of course, you can't slap him. He got suspended and fined, or he's suspended for one game. You don't want to fine him because they don't make a lot of money. However, my issue is it's time for these pro sports leagues to step up and show that this type of fan behavior is unacceptable. I knew the guy was being a tool. So far too often fans think just because you pay for a ticket, they can be rude and say whatever they want. These players don't make millions of dollars, which is why families no longer go to games. Was the fan drunk? I'm speculating that this fan was, and probably was, running his mouth all game long. Now we know from T, who said that the guy was. And since this incident took place after the game was over, I have no information on if the fan was drunk or not. They are more than welcome to reach out, whoever this fan is, or those who saw the incident, whoever you are, and tell your side of the story. But I assume, just for fun, that this guy was drunk. In any case, that fan, so that guy who got slapped in the face, should also be banned from the UFL. No need to stick your head out and egg on a player because you have liquid courage, pal. These types of fans are the reason people don't go to live games anymore. We are not the NFL. And supposedly if you spit on him, where was security? And I want the Battlehawks organization, you got plenty of fans, you got 30,000 in there. That guy should never, ever step foot in a UFL stadium ever again. It is not okay to do that. You can heckle, you can talk, but clearly these guys, and it was making, so just think about all the people that were around that guy. I was at a game, I was at the DC Defenders game against the San Antonio Brahmas, and there were San Antonio fans sitting out there down a little bit below. I think they have a podcast or something. They were being a little too like, you know what, your team scores a point, you don't turn around, put your hands up and look at the fans. I get that, but they were being cordial, and I think security was kind of like, hey, settle down, and they did, and it was fine. Then this drunk loser just keeps yelling at them the whole time. Now, this guy was a straight-up dork trying to impress this chick that he's with. Yes, and if I ever see you at the stadium again, you can, by all means, come up to me, and I will tell you to your face that you're a dork trying to impress some chick. I've never seen that guy in the section before. And then he like turned around to take a picture, and this guy was sloshed. And he was a pussy because he was drinking wine. I just want to point that out too. So it's not. So I don't know who these two people were. They probably never been to games, but he was just drunk, running his mouth. These leagues, the UFL and the NFL, particularly, that's people that don't like to go to NFL games because of that. They don't bring their kids. They don't, and then it kind of like, you know, I've just heard from a lot of people that they don't like going to games because of this kind of stuff. If I was the owner of the DC Defenders, that's my goal, is to be the owner of the DC Defenders. Now I have about $20 I could put towards it. But maybe someday, as we're working towards things and shifting goals in life, maybe that could be a possibility. I like to have high goals, and DC Defenders is one of them. I would make sure, especially this weekend, to make sure that you remind the fans, hey, have fun, but you know what I mean? Like, don't be a jerk is what they do in Baltimore. Now, this fan who did this, he is also a loser and a broken soul, most likely. And if I found out that guy worked for me, I would fire him the next day, because I'd be like, listen, you're the reason why people don't go to NFL games. And I wish the UFL would make an example of this person. Now, I talked to my wife about it, and I said what would probably be the best solution, that, you know what I mean? Like, the fan apologizes, Nacua apologizes, and maybe Nacua sends him like a shirt, a signed shirt that says, hey man, we're cool. And the fan apologizes. Like, this is the part that I don't like, because it's the fan that's causing your business to have problems. It's people like that. It's easy for security to go up to this guy and say, hey man, just why don't you settle down a little bit? Or somebody, if somebody gets too mouthy, and I don't know the security game, you know, to just have somebody just in a yellow shirt just stand by the guy and be like, hey, you know, what's going on? You know what I mean? Because it's disrupting everybody around him. And this is the other thing. Drunk fan at the DC Defenders game and drunk fan at the Battlehawks game. Like, you're not funny. You're not funny, and you're not entertaining. Basically, what it has on your head is a big old L, that you're a loser and you can't even handle your alcohol. Like, if you need, how about I tell you this, Battlehawk fan that was being rude? How about with your kids, if you have kids, if anybody wants to mate with you, but let's assume that somebody did and made that mistake, that I will sit in you. I'll tell you what, I will pay the $70 that you paid for your seats, or maybe it's $100. I'll get some of my friends together, and while you're sitting watching TV, me and my pals are going to sit in your living room and heckle you and your family while you're trying to watch TV. How would you like that? Because here's the thing. You wouldn't heckle them if you weren't sitting up above them where you know that they can't touch you, because you are soft and you are a loser. I am sorry. There are people, I try to be a good Christian guy, and I'm also an Irish dude, 68% Irish, and I'm from Long Island. And if anything gets under my skin, it's when people are bullied and when people act like that. Like, it really gets under my skin. I'll tell you another story. I had my other seats at the DC Defenders on the other side. And one time, it was the beginning of the game. It was the 2023 season. And two guys that weren't even in my section, standing in front of me, started heckling the players. So I stood up next to them, and I looked at them and I was like, dudes, what are you doing? This isn't the NFL. And I just kind of looked at them like, are you serious? And then they turned around and left. Like, if you go to sporting events and you heckle players and these ladies who are probably disgusting to look at, heckling them and talking about the size of their junk, like, you are a loser. You are plain and simple a loser, and we don't want you. I would rather have the league crumble than have loser fans like you going to our games. This is not how we do things in the UFL. We are not the NFL. We are not the NHL. We are not Major League Baseball. You pay your ticket because you're a loser and you're a broken soul and you need to just be you think you're funny. You're not. You're not funny. No one came to a game to have you yell at players about their private parts. Like, you are straight up beyond broken, which there's thousands and millions of people that are broken. I suggest you, for anything, maybe maybe this could be your come to Jesus moment, as Mark is trying to be as good Christian dude as I possibly can, even though I'm a punk kid from Long Island who is from, a little Irish, and I don't like bullies. And it just drives me nuts. But I think the leagues need to wake up and stop allowing this behavior. You don't need those people to come to games, because that one ticket that they sell with their two drunk friends impacts that whole vicinity. So that whole section. So let's say you had 200 people sitting in that section. Now that guy being a jerk could turn off 60 or 70 people in that section to never come to a game again. Or maybe 30%. So what you see, just doing straight math, those people are worthless. Like, they bring nothing to the table. So if that guy was a season ticket holder, here's your money back. Goodbye. You're not a season ticket holder name. I mean, maybe he could sneak into the games. Fine. But if he's a season ticket holder, take him away. Those people acting like that, the league, especially in St. Louis, you need to make sure that that stuff doesn't happen. Because you have such a limited fan base going to games. You want to make sure they have a good experience. And when losers like this guy that got slapped, who deserved it because he's a wuss, because he was sitting up top and he knew the football player who would kick his ass straight up, sat there. Just think about that impact that it has on your season ticket sale. So as the future owner of the DC Defenders, I can promise you that behavior would not go in my stadium. And what I would even put myself on the stadium at the beginning of the game or in the third quarter, because that's when people get lippy, you would have my face in a video basically saying, hey, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for coming to the game, supporting the UFL. Remember, we are not the NFL. Have a good time. If you're drunk, maybe you should drink a glass of water. And remember, don't be heckling the players and screaming out and being obnoxious. You know what the difference is between obnoxious and isn't. Y'all do. There's a difference between if the earth is flat, people who think the earth is flat and the earth is round. There's no debate on it. We know the difference. But if you are one of those fans, you are not welcome back here, and you are a loser. A loser that should be pelted with lemons. Maybe that's what we should do. Fans who are obnoxious at the end of the game, that the other fans, the real true UFL fans, can pelt them with lemons. That would be good. I like that idea. That's how you solve the problem. Pelting people with lemons. So this really irked me and kind of pissed me off. And, this guy's a tool, and maybe you're not a tool guy with your, thinking you're funny or whatever. If you would like to, my email, podcast@uflnewshub.com. And maybe if you were in that section, maybe tell me something different that I don't know. But from what I see and my experiences at stadiums, including the DC Defenders game that I was at, and I've seen this before, not very often in the UFL. If you come to the UFL game from out of town, if you just come to a game, you're my pal. The San Antonio fans sitting at the front, they were a little obnoxious. They pulled it back. You're my pal. The Birmingham Stallions fans sitting in my section cheering their team, you're my pals. Thank you for coming. But people that act like that, I despise you. I don't want you in my league. Go watch, I don't know, IF1, because they could use the help, apparently. We'll get into that later. Or some other. You know what you should do, St. Louis Battlehawks fan? I want you to give up your tickets and go watch pillow fighting on ESPN. You can be a season ticket holder of pillow fighting on ESPN. That's what you should do. So let me know. Sorry for my rant. This kind of stuff really pisses me off because it hurts the brand and it hurts our league. Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe.